Today on CityCast Seattle, local officials weigh in on ICE funding as Seattleites take to the streets, light rail opening date announced, and a bill to allow Rivian to sell direct to consumers. But first, Bloodworks Northwest says that they are low on blood. So I want to know, Hannah Krieg, Seattle's reporter without a boss and founder of The Burner, when was the last time you gave blood?
Oh my God. Like
Are
in
you like a blood giving
college.
person?
I'm
Ooh.
like, I'm queasy. I could do it. I'd have to like eat a lot though. I don't know. It's if they're running low and someone wants to make a day of it, I guess I'd do it, but it'll knock me out for a while.
It like they take a pint of blood. It's a lot of blood, actually.
Yeah.
I try and give twice a year, and I find that I have to be super well hydrated for like the day
Mm,
before and at least 3 days after. It's no small feat, but if you
yeah.
can go, definitely. It's like 30 minutes tops, which is kind of nice. But what about you, creative producer Sam J Leeds?
I would give blood, but I'm not allowed. I'm too gay. Um,
Too
I'm
gay
too
to
gay to
give
give blood. Yeah,
blood.
it's a real bummer because I'm like, I got good blood. Be happy to give it, but they say nope.
I do think that I know that for a long time that has been a barrier for people. I know that they also have changed some of the rules in recent years. I don't know that that would allow you to give blood, Sam, in
Hmm.
particular. But I will say, if there are folks listening and they're not sure if they're eligible, I really do encourage you to like go onto their site and see what the questionnaire looks like because they ask like 80 billion questions, all probably for good reason. But who knows? Things may have changed in a way that allow some more people to give blood. But then it's too bad that our system is the way that it is. Anyway, if you're eligible, go give blood
And then go eat a cookie. It's a good
and go
excuse.
eat a cookie. They also, someone was telling me that they have Doritos at the Bellevue location. I don't think that I've never seen Doritos at the North Seattle location,
Big
but
if true.
yes, big if true. In other news, over the weekend, CBP agents killed Alex Pretti in Minneapolis, and Seattleites are trying to figure out how to respond to federal threats on a local level. So there was another ICE abduction here in North Seattle, I guess technically in Shoreline over the weekend. Hannah, I know you covered this. Can you say a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, I would say spiritually Seattle. It's on
Yeah.
Aurora. It's pretty close by. I received video, and there were a lot of reports online about probably 6 to 8 ICE agents pulling someone over, arresting them in their car, detaining them, and then as they're doing this, realizing there's a 2-year-old in the back, or that's the age that some people have said. I guess I haven't verified the age, but a very young looking child, right? Eyewitnesses tell me that a family member came later, picked up the child, and moved the car. And the video of like the woman like carrying the child, I feel like it's just like kind of like seared in a lot of people's brains, like locally right now, because it's just like so sad. I mean, obviously all abductions are like cruel and awful, but like just like that, children are witnessing this and children in our neighborhoods are witnessing this and like that child like is like without a father right now and so really sad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, according to a piece by Danny Westneat at the Seattle Times, arrests by ICE in Washington has surged 143% during the first year of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. So there have been more than 1,000 deportations out of Washington, which is nearly triple that compared to a similar time period in 2024. And last year, 88 kids under age 18 were detained by ICE, and 56 of those have already been removed from the country. The youngest was only 3, and that's double the number of kids that were deported in 2024. We're just seeing this targeting of children as well as of adults.
I think the Spokesman Review wrote a story last week, but ICE or Border Patrol arrested a young girl and her father in Spokane, I think last week, and now they're in immigration jail in Texas.
Woof. And kids being kind of used as bait. Like I saw that in Portland, immigration officials had targeted parents who were at trying to get their kid treatment at a hospital and ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what makes like the school stuff so scary. From I guess maybe that was last week about
What
ICE
is
being
time?
potentially seen around a school. That's definitely a place where, parents come and pick up their kids, especially when they're young.
I know over the weekend after Alex Pretti's murder, Seattleites gathered at the federal building to hold a vigil. Hannah, I know you went. What did you see there?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are probably a couple thousand people at the federal building. People are really angry, but I also think people are really unsure of like what the next step is. There's a lot of like calls to organize. A lot of people who are saying that do know what that means. A lot of people who are hearing that maybe don't, and like are new to the anger. And sometimes when I hear like let's organize, I'm not sure what that means, and I don't know what that looks like for me on my day to day of like, besides like showing up for like mass action or like responding to community calls. Like in the moment, I don't know exactly where we go from here. And so I think that's something that's going to be like worked on in the coming weeks. And all has to be adaptable because we don't know like when it's going to really, I mean, shit's already bad here, as you said. Like ICE arrests have surged, but when it gets to, if it gets to a situation like Minnesota, like a big crackdown like that, like I think we'll have to be really adaptable.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity in this moment for people to really think about like what are the networks they're getting information through and how do they connect with neighbors. From what I've been hearing out of Minneapolis specifically, people have like neighborhood group chats that are literally like block by block. And I think, Seattleites are sort of famous for not necessarily wanting to get to know their neighbors, but I actually am not sure how true that is in this moment. I think like in moments of crisis, we really do show up for each other. I feel like I see that every year when there's a snowstorm. That's like the main time that people are talking to each other. When there's like big things happening, I think people do actually turn up for each other. And so I think starting now, before we get to a point where we're having to deal with major crisis, of just talking to each other, finding out what people in your building even need, and setting up those modes of communication ahead of time, I think is like a really great place to start in terms of how to organize.
I've seen a lot of cynicism about whether Seattleites have it in them to like melt the freeze and talk to each other. And I mean, what better fuel than spite? Like, just prove them wrong. Like, let's do it, guys. Just talk to your neighbors. I mean, I do think that I've seen a fairly consistent pattern of people coming out multiple days a week to gather. And I think that is an important way to give the community a space to process and to talk to each other and to just practice showing up. And I've seen some discourse lately whether the federal building is the right place to be doing that. It seems like so far a lot of the actions have taken place at the federal building. And I mean, I get the logic of this is a federal agency that is imposing its will on us locally, so showing up at the federal building feels appropriate in that way. But other folks are saying, the time that these vigils or gatherings are happening are often after work, on weekdays, or on weekends when nobody's working at the federal building at that time. What do you all think? Is the federal building still the most appropriate place to be gathering? Is there some other place that people could be gathering?
I guess, yeah, it is kind of just like a symbolic thing and something we're in the practice of. It made a lot of sense in the summer when there were like people, when ICE was in the building detaining people during their immigration hearings. I know that the tradition of going to the federal building for federal issues is like way predates that too. But I think that like, I mean, I'm gonna get canceled for saying it, but like the if you want to exert pressure, you have to like have like a really specific target. And so like I think sometimes, and people get really wary of this, it's like, do you have a politician that you want to pressure? Where are they physically? Is it do they have a public meeting you can go to? Is it something you have to go to their neighborhood? There is, then that's a tension that I think there is a time and a place. Going to someone's house and demonstrating nonviolently, I think, is like very appropriate when you're seeing people being abducted from the street.
I think it really depends on what the strategy or the point of the protest is.
True.
Because oftentimes I think protests are just about getting to see each other, right? It's like knowing that there are other people who feel similarly, who you can meet and who you can be in community with. And if that's the point, if that's the reason you're going, then I think the federal building works as a symbol. But if, to your point, Hannah, like the idea is to exert pressure on someone or to actually shut something down, then I think people need to be thinking about different locations. We've seen some protests outside of King County Airport, which is where the deportation flights are taking place. As far as I know, no one has like tried to actually shut the airport down, but they have demonstrated, along the street, that's sort of public access, and people are also going and observing those flights. And then, yeah, I think during the height of the pro-Palestine protests, people were showing up at some of our politicians' houses and saying, like, why are you still voting to send, military aid to Israel? So there's been like a variety of tactics, and I'll be curious to see what happens in Seattle in relationship to ICE.
Yeah. I mean, I guess on a more local representative level, I know Senator Patty Murray has stated that she is not going to support the federal budget bill as is, which includes $10 billion of additional funding for ICE. She says that the bill needs to have funding for the Department of Homeland Security split out of it. I know Katie Wilson on Monday night had a town hall to talk about what to do about ICE. And also have heard rumblings from organizers about a tax strike. I don't know how that's going to move forward or if that's going to move forward, but it really sounds like people are starting to think about how to make a statement on a local level to the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know this country has a long history of like war tax resistance. People have withheld taxes in the past to protest like foreign wars. I don't really know how it works when the war is internal to the country and when, federal dollars are being used to abduct people who live here. But I would be curious, and maybe we'll talk about this on a future episode, about sort of how Washington's tax code supports or doesn't protest around this kind of thing.
All right. Well, if you are a historian or an accountant who knows about that, get in touch with us. Seattle at citycast.fm. Let's take a break. And when we come back, let's talk about light rail. So Sound Transit has announced that we have an official date for the opening of the connection between the 1 line and the 2 line to the east side. And that is going to be March 28th. I got to say, when they made this announcement, I was a little surprised. I thought it was going to take longer than that. That's surprisingly soon, and I'm very excited about it. Curious to hear what you all think.
I mean, all praise to Emperor God King Tao Constantine. He came in and he got those boys into shape. I remember I have a friend who's a light rail operator, and him saying, "Oh my God, we randomly have to change our shift. We had to do a shift pick again randomly. We just did it, but we have to do a shift pick because they're gonna announce the Bellevue thing soon. Like it's like it was like super like fast moving." And he's like, "Damn, like Dow really did that." So maybe that's giving him too much credit, but it's kind of fun too.
Got some shit done.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think that we're going to have a train going across a body of water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know this is like not news to anyone, but it is still sort of wild to me that it's a thing that we're capable of doing.
I believe it's the first train, light rail, that is going to go across a floating bridge. So it feels like kind of a technicality to have that many different qualifiers on it, but I'm excited about it. That's cool. I mean, for all the numbtots, if you know, like that is kind of an exciting new thing.
Yeah, a technicality that is very important because a floating bridge is so different than a regular bridge. It literally moves with the water. And we have a train that's going to move with the water a little bit. That's crazy.
I don't want to be on the train during the big one. That's my only thing.
I mean, it might be safer than being on a non-floating bridge during the big one. So
good point.
There's that. As somebody who grew up in the Bay Area and grew up with the lore of different bridge levels collapsing onto each other during earthquakes, like this feels safer to me. So.
No. And I was always afraid when I lived in the Bay Area of being in that BART tunnel under the bay when an earthquake would hit. No, thank you.
Yeah.
So I saw that The Stranger had a piece about how the 1-2 line connection, because it is going to be born, I suppose, on March 28th, that it is an Aries. And so I wanted to ask our resident astrology expert, Sam J Leeds, what does all this mean? I gotta say, as a non-astrology person, I don't know very much about this. Hannah, are you an astrology person?
I dabble.
You dabble. Okay, so maybe both of you can help me make sense of what this means.
Well, I feel like first of all, I have to, not to pick a fight with the stranger, but I have to sort of dispute the idea that the train is born on the day it starts running.
Ooh.
Ooh, life
You know?
begins at conception.
Wait, yeah.
Uh-oh, we're getting into hot water here. But I'm just like, yeah, I feel like it's been around for a while. It just hasn't been like fully walking.
Yeah, they've been running tests. It's just not
Yeah.
connected yet to the rest. I can't think of a good metaphor for what that means, but okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is it an Aries? Big questions here. But let's just go with their birth chart reading for, I guess, for the time being. It is sort of funny to think about having a fire sign being the first cross water train. I don't really know what this means for a train, but I'm entertained by the fact that we, as a very gay city, have decided to do birth chart readings for our public transportation.
Well, wait. Fire, water. If it catches on fire, it's in the water and the water will help. As a non-astrology person, I am having trouble making sense of what this means.
Okay, so its sun sign is Aries, its moon sign is Leo, which sort of means that like its big like spotlight energy wants to get a lot of attention, is glad to be, at the center of focus, which lines up, I gotta say. Aries is sort of like fiery, like we'll go into a fight, guns blazing, take no shit kind of vibes. And
It's
then,
going to get you across
Yeah.
the water no matter what.
it's gonna make it happen. It's gonna be the trailblazer. It's gonna be the first to do it. And hopefully it's also gonna be on time.
So one thing I will say I was very excited to learn is that the way that the two line is going to work is that it's going to go basically between Linwood in the north and Redmond in the east. So it's going to, if you are in North Seattle, which I am, the frequency of trains is going to increase by quite a bit. So you're going to have a train every 4 minutes that is
Wow.
going through North Seattle. So yeah, I guess it is going to speedily get you where you need to go.
See, there you go. Astrology, it's real, folks.
Hannah, Sam, are you all going to take the two line? Like, are you all ever going to head over to the east side now that it's easier and like go do something fun over there?
I mean, I'll take it just for the fun of it. Like, why
The
not?
novelty.
I don't really go to the east side very often, but I feel like just getting to ride the train for the views seems incredible.
True.
Much better than driving. And also, there's some really good food on the east side. So I would love to do a little like weekend trip to go eat my way through the Bellevue area.
East side dim sum, gotta say, that's where it's at.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think this will open up the region for me a little bit. There are times when it's like, oh, someone has something they want me to cover in Bellevue. I'm like, that's kind of a journey. And now the journey will feel a little bit less, even though I could have taken the bus. Just like there's something about the light rail that makes it feel easier for me. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm also really excited to see what art is going to be inside each of the stations.
Oh, yeah.
That's always been like a fun surprise each time a new station has opened. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very hype about it. I will say that as we are heading into a new era of light rail and just having it be easier to get around the entire region on light rail, what do you guys want to see from light rail culture? I love light rail. I take it all the time. I gotta say, this weekend, people just gotta act right, man. Like, someone puked on light rail. It was really gross. This other guy was just like rapping really loudly and was asked to stop by one of the transit folks. But then as soon as the transit person got off the car, he just started rapping loudly about how there's a snitch on the car, which I will say I was amused, but I also was just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, I wish we could just also respect each other's space. I mean, I'm thinking about how like connections between trains in New York. You've got like subway performers. And I feel like we don't really have that culture here at all. And that might be in part because of what security enforces or doesn't. But I mean, what would you guys like to see from light rail culture as things move forward?
I'll stop you right there. You want to have your cake and eat it too. You're saying you don't want the wrapper on the car, but you want performers. It's like, this is how art happens, Jane. You have
That's Jane.
That's fair.
you have to accept it. We can't. We have. If we want to have
Maybe
fun,
I just
we have
want
to deal
a
with
better performer. Like he just had headphones in and he was doing his own thing. Like it
Okay.
didn't feel like he was performing for us. It felt like he was just like kind of having his own.
Everyone wants to be an art critic. Nobody wants to be making art. I see what's happening here, Jane.
All right, catch me on light rail, debuting my new rap career.
You and Bruce Harrell.
it. That's true.
Oh my God, that what was his rap name again? I can't remember now.
It was like,
B. Roos something. I don't know. I can't
Oh,
remember.
I think you're right. B. Rusi.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh.
yeah.
We can't end things there, so I just want to say that my last thing about light rail culture that I would really like to see move forward is I want to see more Boop. Give Boop more hype. Do you all know about Boop?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
The
for
whale.
folks who are not in the know, it's the orca mascot that is a very cute little orca, often with a little bow tie. And its name is Boop because that's the sound that your little card makes when you boop onto a train or bus. I think Boop needs a lot more hype and a lot more love because not enough people know about Boop.
I would go so far as to say Boop is the superior of the orca mascots, and we have many.
We do. Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I look forward to March 28th. Definitely catch me on light rail on the way to Redmond that day. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Rivian. State law blocks car buyers from purchasing electric vehicles directly from the manufacturer. Currently, Tesla got an exemption like a decade ago, so they're currently the only EV company that has the ability to sell directly to consumers in the state. But that might be changing soon. So the electric truck manufacturer Rivian has pledged $4.6 million to put towards a ballot measure that would open direct sales to more electric vehicle makers. There was a bill that was proposed last year that failed that would allow Rivian to sell directly to consumers. But I'm curious what you all think. Could this get more traction as a ballot initiative than it did as a bill?
Yeah, it always sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck for Rivian because they have money, but it sucks when like you could do it a relatively inexpensive way by doing it through the ledge, and then it doesn't like have traction. So it's like, okay, I gotta spend millions of dollars to do a statewide ballot initiative. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know what stakeholders would be for it and against it. What's the logic behind them not being able to sell direct to consumers? Are they going to take an anti-Tesla angle? I guess that could be like compelling at this time, but I'm not sure.
I was gonna say if they tap in with the Tesla takedown folks, I feel like they could be very successful. And then, you know, all the people who have the like I bought this before Elon went crazy bumper stickers might have to like eat crow a little bit on that one.
I do wonder, I don't know that much about the Rivian CEO, but it's like, is he also a ticking time bomb? I don't know. Who knows?
Potentially.
To answer your question, Hannah, about who the stakeholders are, the people who opposed those efforts for legislation are mostly like car dealerships. So people who basically want those sales to go through them. Like they want people to show up to their dealerships and buy a car there. So currently the way that you will buy a Rivian, if you wanted to, you would buy it online and then you just pick it up at one of their sales locations. So there's still a way to get them, obviously, since I've seen a ton of Rivians around town and an increasing number over the last few years. But I thought it was kind of fascinating that dealerships are the folks who kind of don't want to see this become a thing.
I've never bought a brand new car, but like if you go through a dealership, do they get to charge you more than if you buy direct from the manufacturer?
Oh, they try and upcharge you on everything. They're like, don't you
Okay.
want a nicer trim of this car? Don't you want like this protection and that protection for 85 years? And, they, it's very interesting getting the sales pitch from folks. I've had the misfortune of being targeted for that kind of thing. And it's interesting because it's like all the like psychology sales tactics where the person who you actually like went on a test drive with and like sold you the car seems like a nice guy that you can actually trust, but then they hand you off to like their business associate who like
Uh-oh.
tries the hard sell. So I mean, I kind of get it. I think that in a way, I think that's how people work on commission, and also how these dealerships kind of stay alive is by trying to get folks to buy into these other bells and whistles. Where if you had more time to consider at home, maybe you like wouldn't feel as much pressure to purchase. I guess I'll sit back and say Rivian's putting $4.6 million into this, and their arm to carry this out is called the Washington Coalition for Consumer Choice and Innovation, which my side thought about this is like, can we stop giving groups like this misleading names? Like, I would love as a consumer to have just known this is Rivian.
Yeah.
And unless you've been reading the news and paying attention to this, that name gives you the impression that it is not just Rivian putting $4.6 million into a ballot initiative to help themselves. But yes, Rivian is not the only EV company that could benefit from this. There's another which has been, I believe, a partner in this called Lucid. Have you all heard of Lucid?
Nope.
Okay, me neither. I went on their website, and whose face do I see besides young Timmy Chimmy? Timothy Chalamet is doing a little ad for them.
No way.
I felt like I was in the Upside Down. I was like, how have I never heard of this company? And they've probably paid Chalamet like a lot of money to advertise for them. They are also in U Village. So I believe Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid all have showrooms at U Village. And somehow it makes sense to me that all of it's at U Village, but I was just curious if anyone else was in the dark about them, because I literally just learned about them through this.
Yeah, I'd never heard of them.
I feel like I only learn about EVs based on what I see on the road, and I'm not sure I've ever encountered a Lucid in the wild. So,
Yeah, I was looking at photos of their cars to try and see if any of them look familiar, but they kind of just have that generic car look. Clearly, I'm not,
generic car look. Yeah.
not a big car person. But it's like maybe like it's kind of the equivalent of like you see a guy in Seattle and you're like, have I seen that guy before? Do I know that guy? He just kind of looks like a guy.
Yeah, he's got like a
who's in
big
Seattle.
mustache and a beanie.
Brown
and
hair, yeah.
like,
You're like,
yeah.
oh, okay, medium height, like whatever. That's kind of Lucid feels a little like the car equivalent of that. I mean, going back to what you were saying earlier, Sam, about the Tesla of it all. I mean, do we think that this is a different environment now versus a year ago in terms of getting consumers to care about Rivian versus Tesla?
I feel like if you're in the market to get a car and you are considering buying a Tesla, you're too far gone. It's like there's been enough, I feel like, public pressure to like not get a Tesla that it's like I don't know if there's many converts, but I mean, as far as like this initiative goes, that maybe I think the anti-Tesla angle is limited by the fact that it's benefiting other like large corporations. I'm sure Rivian is like, I mean, they can afford to spend whatever million dollars on a ballot initiative. We're not really helping the little guy. It's consumer choice. Please pick me. But
Big pick me energy. Yeah. I also just feel like Doge is less in the headlines these days, and the sort of energy behind like I don't know, political campaigns specifically targeted at Elon Musk, it's waning. There are bigger things for people to be concerned about at this point. I would be curious to talk to somebody about the like charging ports, because I know some of them are proprietary to the car, and the city of Seattle has been putting in like green charging ports around the city, and I don't know if they work for all of the different EVs that are out there. So that might also be a limiting factor for folks, is like, can you afford to put a charging station in at your house? Do you need to charge on the street? All of that fun infrastructure stuff.
Yeah, I ended up getting a hybrid about a year and a half ago, in part because I just personally don't have a place to charge. And I thought about trying to make it work with the new EV chargers that the city's putting in, or, trying to map out like where you could go charge. But at the end of the day, being honest with myself and about the amount of time I actually have to be like driving around and just sitting in a parking lot for like maybe 2 hours was like, I don't know that it's all there yet. As I understand it, some of it is proprietary but faster, and that is the main difference. But I would love to maybe talk with some more EV experts about what that looks like and what the future of EVs will look like in Washington State. And we'll see if this ballot initiative moves forward. We might see more Rivians, but until then, I guess we'll just continue to see all those I bought this before Elon went crazy bumper stickers all over the place. All right, that's all for today here at CityCast Seattle. Hannah Krieg, thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Sam J Leeds, thank you for explaining astrology to me.
I don't know if I did a great job, but I'm glad to attempt.
I can't say I feel like an expert, but you explained more than I knew, and that's something.
Okay,
sure.
I'll take it. That's a win for me.
All right. I'm your host, Jane Sihu. And listeners, thank you for joining us today. We want to hear from you. Send us your news tips, your questions, your hot goss, or if you are an expert on EVs, shoot us a message. We are always checking our texts and our voicemail on the CityCast hotline at 206-880-3931. You can also send us an email at seattle@citycast.fm. If you want more local news and events delivered to your inbox, you can subscribe to our newsletter. Just go to seattle.citycast.fm. And if you're enjoying the podcast, follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen so you never miss an episode. You can also leave us a little review. 5 stars, please, if you are enjoying things. Or just tell your friends about us. Until tomorrow, see ya, Seattle.